are you doing today?
I like your backdrop.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Look, you still owe me a therapy session.
I know. Let's do it now. Come on.
You gonna be a therapist?
we were gonna therapize each other, weren't we?
Aww.
I love that our reaction is exactly the same.
Like what?
We just both went,
Oh, same time. Over a tub of ice cream. Glad listening.
Look, I just want to say thank y'all for just showing out for all of the siblings who had to grow up way too soon. I feel so seen now, so thank you for that.
Yeah.
But one of the first questions that I have for all of you is, I love this dynamic of, you know, all of your characters kind of have a moment in the series where they make this choice to live for themselves.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know for all of you, either personally or professionally, what was that moment in your life where you decided, I'm going to live and do what makes me happy and not for the expectations of others?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think from a young age, I never wanted to lead a life where at some point I'd look back and have regret. And I think whether we like it or not, we are going to feel regret at some point in life. We can't control that. Life happens. But from a young age, I wanted to do my very best to achieve whatever I wanted to achieve and not look back and be like, oh, if only I listened there instead of here. So this is quite much louder than it is up here. I wish it was a bit louder up here. It's very loud.
Yeah. Head and heart.
Yeah.
But that's what this is about, isn't it? Head and heart. And what you think is right and what you believe, you know. It's funny, I think for me, that's talking to a gay person or a queer person, that's like, that just alarm bells go, of course, of like deciding to completely live authentically. But beyond that, also, it's just about just going, you know what, you can, I think, if you really commit to a career that isn't, you know, it's not very secure, is it, as an actor? But, you know, we're very lucky to be working in Bridgerton, but I just think just sticking to your instincts and who you are always requires the bravery, and it takes a while to get there, but that's what this...
Yeah. For me, I mean, all of my life, I've been the good Indian daughter, and I've made every decision based on what would make my parents proud, and I've never really sort of paused to question. Obviously, I derive happiness from my parents being happy, but the biggest thing and the most profound thing that I've sort of done for myself that took an act of courage was choosing to become an actor. I sacrificed, you know, a very stable corporate job to do that.
And only in the last 2 years.
I know,
Yeah.
it's like...
And it's super scary, but it's, as these two have so brilliantly said, those decisions that decisions that takes an act of courage often end up being the most satisfying decisions. And that's kind of what the show is about,
That
right?
is what it is about.
Between Anthony. Yeah.
Y'all better sit up here and be inspiring today. I'm here for it.
Aww.
We can't help it.
Sorry.
You guys are being so sensitive.
I know, I was like...
But I mean, also too, what has the pressure been like? I mean, Jonathan, for you being the center of the season, but also too for the both of you, like coming into the series that is so popular. Like, what were some of the reservations you had, or what are some of the things that you did to make yourself feel at home while filming season 2?
Feeling at home on season 2, I think, you know, that was within the people, not really the place, and the people I was surrounded with, and that being the cast and the crew. These guys, of course. So yeah, immediately I felt at home in that sense. And I think it's a factor of just trusting one another and having space, a safe environment where we can communicate, and in a creative environment where we're enthusiastic to bring the story to life. And in terms of pressure, I think, you know, it kind of goes in two different ways. And I think last year, for me, it was all about the craft and the character and the love stories involved, and bringing it to life in the best way possible. But now the other side is, I think, you know, something I've really been exploring and being thoughtful on is, as an Indian woman playing one of the leads in this show, yeah, like, whether I like it or not, like, I am representing a minority, and it's something I shouldn't be afraid of having that voice. And I think it was something I was afraid of. I was like, I just want to be an actress. But I think it is a political statement being on screen and being in the positions we are in. And, you know, now that it's not so much a pressure, but a learning curve for me to kind of take that on my sleeve and take it to heart and not be so afraid of it and not be afraid of the power of my own voice, and sharing space with other amazing South Asian women. Enjoy.
But it's kind of amazing because I almost had the opposite pressure of, like, I felt like sometimes I would put the weight of the world on my own shoulders when no one asked me to, you know? Like, I think there's this idea that we're not really allowed to be mediocre. Like, I always feel like we kind of have to always be really excellent. And that pressure can sometimes be, like, a bit overwhelming. And so for me, what was really important was actually not doing that to myself, realizing that I am obviously representing India, and I'm so proud of that, but I'm also just representing myself, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't need to put more pressure on myself than
Yeah.
anyone else.
And everyone
Yeah.
else
Exactly.
follows with
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
connection to it.
You doing a fantastic job is enough.
Yeah.
You know,
Thank you.
that's representing in itself.
Look, I just want to thank all of you. They cut my time, but I love y'all so much. Y'all did so good.
Oh, we love you.
We love
Thank you so much.
For another half an hour.
Yes, seriously. Let's just claim that for the next time, okay?
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah.
Aw.
Can I-
Hi. Hi, how are you doing today?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. Oh, is this a top or a dress?
This is a dress. It's a Zimmerman dress.
It's cute.
Thank you very much. I love your lipstick.
Thank you.
Gorgeous color.
Look, one of the first questions that I have for you is, I love this whole like battle with Penelope about, you know, wanting to live for her family, but also too wanting to make a life for herself. And I wanted to know for you, like, what was that moment either in your career or personally when you made that decision that I want to live for myself? I don't want to do things that other people want me to do.
God. So, I mean, it was funny because I don't come from this world. I don't come from a family of performers. Like, my dad was in the army. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. So I was like, for me to want to be an actor, it was quite a left field thing, I guess. I knew I wanted to do it forever and ever, but then it came to the time sort of when I was graduating university that I thought, okay, I'm either going to do this or I'm not going to do this, you know? And I think it came then, but it's a scary thing to sort of make the decision to do what you want to do, especially if it's something that's sort of not the expected thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, going from season 1 into season 2, like, what has that experience been like, you know, especially with how many fans have really gravitated towards your character? You know, what is the experience, you know, going into this character again in season 2?
You know, it was really exciting because of her being revealed as Whistledown at the end of season 1. I knew that would sort of open up the doors to see what she's been getting up to and how she gets away with everything. So I was excited, and getting those scripts was really exciting. And, you know, finding out she's got this sort of alter ego, and, you know, that was like how clever she is, but also how much stress it must put upon her. You know, it sort of added something. So it was like, I felt like every day this season I went in and there was something new to sort of tackle with her, which is great. As an actor, it's what you love.
Is there anything from your character that, you know, a quality that she possesses that you're like, you know what, I need to work on it. I need to incorporate that into my real life?
Gosh. I feel like maybe the part of where she's very unapologetic about her business. You know, I love getting to like sort of play that side to her where she was really serious about this and really, yeah, maybe like to take some of that, because I feel like as a woman, when you are ambitious in any industry, sometimes people can be a bit like, oh, I don't know. So I think maybe that side of her, but the lying, not so much. The lying, I would go to her and be like, you need to stop this. It's not good.
It's okay, honey. You ain't got to do all this lying. Just the truth will set you free.
Exactly.
But I mean, thinking about, you know, the romance, you know, I love how she sees so much that's happening. And even with all the craziness going on in her universe, like, she still finds the joy in everything, you know, the joy of falling in love. And I wanted to know for you, like, how has it been able to actually showcase such just purity and happiness with someone? You don't get to see that much with a character.
No, you don't really. And she's someone who really truly loves. I think she's like a true romantic in her heart and soul, and she really believes in it. And even, you know, at the ball, seeing two people in love dance together, I think she really loves that. And also, I quite like in this season that she sort of gets to say to Eloise, like, Eloise sort of realized, she goes, you like all of this, don't you? And she's like, yeah, I do, actually. I do. And, you know, she's not ashamed of that. And she's not, but I think she really wants true love. She really, really wants it. But she's like a modern woman in a lot of ways, where she wants it all. She wants to have this writing career and she wants to have this man she loves, but who knows if she's gonna be both? I don't know.
And she can have it all, okay? Because I'm gonna claim that and manifest that for her.
Okay. I believe in it. I believe in it.
It's done. And Colin got one more time to disrespect my girl, because I was gonna come this season. I said, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of it. You got one more time. Okay.
It's amazing.
But I mean, what is something that, you know, looking into, I know you can't tell us about, you know, the future season, but anyone who's read the books, they kind of, you know what's going to happen. What is something that you're most excited to explore with your character that we actually haven't seen yet?
I think she's got a lot of maturing to do. I think in this season, I keep saying it's her Britney Spears season. She's not a girl. She's not yet a woman. She thinks she's all mature and everything. But I'm like, you're not really. You're a kid. You're a smart kid, but you're a kid. And then there's like a certain amount of Whistledown that's, you know, making her like a little bit arrogant. It's like asking Eloise, like, don't you think Whistledown's great? Or walking around a ball, hearing people talk about her and going, okay, I guess I am pretty amazing. So I'd like to see her sort of, she can enjoy that, but I think have a little more humility about it. And then, you know, also like know that she can't keep lying. Like lying it's just not good for your heart and soul. So I'm like, I don't know how, I keep thinking, I'm so glad I don't have to write it and figure all this out. But like, I want her to be able to keep writing as well. I want that to happen for her, and I do want her to have. There's a lot of things I want for her. It's a long shopping list.
It's gonna happen for her. We're gonna claim that she's gonna stop lying. She's gonna find love and have a job. It's gonna work for her. I already know it. But I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me.
It's my pleasure.
I'm sending so much love and light your way. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Oh, it's so lovely to speak to you. Thank you for making me giggle so much. I needed it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much.
Shonda.
Hi, how are both of you doing today?
Hello, yeah, good. I love the background.
Wow! I
Look,
love that.
I was at art school with you. I'm just saying. Me.
Amazing.
One of the first questions that I have for the both of you is, you know, for both of your characters, you kind of get to escape this sense of responsibility. And I wanted to know for the both of you on really showcasing that with your characters, can you delve into how you decided to approach kind of this, like, it felt like there was like this looming gloom and doom, like knowing once your brother, you know, figures out his decision that responsibility is now going to kind of fall on both of you. So can you explain approaching it this season?
I think for me in season one, what was really nice to play was that Colin was quite content in how he felt in his position within the family, even to the point when there was the duel between the Duke and Anthony. You know, if something had happened to Anthony, Benedict would have been next in line to sort of become the head of the family, and Colin still really lacked responsibility in that regard. So it was quite nice. He felt quite content, and I think actually going into season 2, although there's no suggestion that Anthony's no longer going to be there and he's going to need to step up, he starts to feel less content in that position and wants to find something that is his purpose. You know, that it's all very well being like, oh great, I can just stroll around and enjoy being rich and enjoy our life that we have, but actually he wants that purpose. He wants to feel like he's needed and wanted and responsible for something. So I think that's his dilemma of season 2, is that he's trying to find his purpose, really.
And I think because the family is so well drawn in this show, like I think actually it feels like it's a lot about, you know, you're born into this structure and you know who you are within that structure, but then a lot of growing up is trying to find out who you are outside it, and sort of not necessarily saying goodbye to it, but sort of letting go of it and trying to find a bit more about yourself and the chambers of yourself that you haven't been allowed to explore when you've been in this unit where everyone knows, you know, so you're the first, you're the second, you're the third. Yeah. So it's really, for me, with Benedict, certainly, it's definitely a story about that, of like, how do you define yourself and find yourself outside it? And I think that's what, not to give any spoilers, but it ends up being quite interesting and poignant in this season, about that attempt to try and find something that's just yours, and
Yes.
that's not, you know, everyone else's, and it's not because you're a Bridgerton,
Yeah.
and, you know,
Yeah, totally.
it's a really nice quest. It's
Yeah.
a very identifiable quest.
What was that moment for the both of you, you know, when you felt that, you know, I finally discovered my purpose? What was that moment like for you?
I think actually that's what's most relatable probably to a lot of actors out there to Benedict's character, because of particularly his pursuit this season in, like you said, his quest to find something that's his own. And I guess that resonates with a lot of actors, because and actually whenever I get asked in interviews who do I relate to, I say because of him, you know, like we've talked about before, wanting to go into art school, but for us it would be into the arts and become an actor, and yeah, I can definitely really relate to that, and I guess it's those moments really that are kind of what you're suggesting. I guess.
But also, it's not even, I wouldn't even see it as one big moment. Like, I think my experience of it, and certainly I think with Benedict, you see the same as well, is that actually it's it's sort of like a constant process of trying to sort of keep, you know, particularly I identify with it, as I say, in a sort of like acting sense of trying to keep what is yours intact.
Yeah.
Try not comparing yourself to others. Try and not, because actually it's none of your business how good or bad you are as an actor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you sort of have to leave that to other people and just focus on just trying to find that thing that makes you you, and trying to sort of like keep it changing and evolving. And so I really, yeah, of course I identify with that. You know, I think it would be strange not to, as actors, that wouldn't sort of appeal.
I mean, what is it like being a part of a series where, you know, like the characters change every season? And what is it like for you knowing that, like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to be like, you know, the spotlight for a season? You know, how does that kind of affect how you go into each season?
I think because I remember at the start of working on this show, and we were midway through season 2 before we'd even got the 8th episode, and in my head I was like, I want to be working on it for months before, and I want to know what's happening, and when I do this scene I want to know what happens at the end. But then we kind of all talked about it, and we said that just doesn't happen in life. You don't know what's going to happen down the line, so it's really fun to just focus on that moment and what we're feeling right now at that very time of that scene. And then if, you know, as the writers love to do with Bridgerton, is throw a curveball, you know, a couple of episodes down the line, it's really nice to try and work out our way as actors, to get around that, and to get to how this character's suddenly had a shift. I've got to work out how I get there, and it to feel real and relatable.
Yeah. It's such a polyphonic show. Like there's so much stuff going on that it doesn't really, I mean, I'm sure, you know, obviously to watch, you know, absolutely Anthony is the focus this season, Anthony and Kate, but I think it doesn't ever feel like we're sort of biding our time or you know, waiting to showcase that in any way. Like it's just us as a different rhythm. It's a slower burn. That's all it is. But
and I love that, because it feels like we're just we're getting little bits of information like fed to us until we're eventually going to do our love story.
That's
or
right.
even it's basically until our love story comes to a climax, really, isn't it? Because it's kind of like we're still meeting people, and we're still
I'm laughing at climax.
yeah, it's quite appropriate for the show, actually. But you know, yeah, it just felt like we're getting bits of information to feed us ready to finish our love stories as the others are doing.
Well, look, I just want to thank the both of you for taking time out of your day to speak with me. I'm sending so much love and light your way, and I hope you have the most amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Appreciate that.
Hey, Shonda.
Great, thank you.
Look, my first question is, are y'all gonna help me find a husband? Because I
Yes.
see how I'm working for everybody else.
Of course we will. What are you after?
Okay, I'm just saying. I feel
What's
like
your
there needs-
criteria. What's the list?
look, just a good man. Okay, work hard, good to his mama. Because he's not good to his mama, he's not gonna be good to me.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
got it.
I'm serious. I'm gonna petition Netflix to get a spin-off matchmaking show with all of you because I really need that to happen. Okay.
That'd be great. Brilliant.
But I really love in this season, like all of you get to have so much fun this season interacting with one another. It really showcases how women just get stuff done. And I wanted to know, like, I mean, we do. So I really wanted to know, how was it actually being able to let loose and let everyone see a different side of all of your characters?
Well, I know that
the Danbury and Violet relationship, their friendship is certainly kind of sort of given more gusto this season, and because of the first season, we sort of became good friends, and we also embedded ourselves in our characters. It meant that coming to this, because we all kept in touch with each other during the pandemic when everyone was in lockdown, and then coming back to it, it's enabled us to kind of find a shortcut, really. And the fact that they've had more scenes together has meant that we could play together. And the ones with the queen, you know, we play in a much freer way, perhaps this time, partly because the script is there, but because we have a trust, I think.
I think we kind of know who we are, and I really like that thing you say about women getting things done, because that is like the baseline of these women. You know, in a world in which they haven't got power, they don't, you know, they appear to have power, but actually as women, they can't vote. They don't own their property. They are their husband's father's property, and they get handed to their husband. They become his property. You know, the women are still having to get things done, and they're having to use skillful means and strategies and subtle nudges here and a little there to get things done. And it's a kind of celebration of the way, you know, we always find a way. We go like the water, we flow. If we can't go that way, then we'll bend this way, and it will happen. So we could do all that, but we could do it with you know, within our own characters, which has been so great. And then to see those characters come together and see what's pushing this way and what's pulling that way, it's been a gas. And as Ruth says, you know, we stayed in touch. We cared about each other during the pandemic. How were we getting on? How are we feeling? You know, literally, you know, how's the family? You know, how's the pets? All of that, you know. So we come back to season 2 going, hooray!
We would have cups of tea on WhatsApp, like once a month. Do you know what I mean? To just kind of check in on each other, which was absolutely fantastic, and it really created a real bond outside of work, so that when you come to work, because that bond is so strong, it's so much easier to react, to play, to discuss, to investigate all these characters, that I hope the audience sees that bond, you know, reaching through the screen.
Well, look, I saw that bond. I was like, I need to be friends with them because they live in their lives right now. But I mean, but we also get to see, like, your characters are very complex. You know, people might look at it like, oh, they're always meddling in other people's business, but we get to see that you have lived very full lives, and we get to see different dimensions of that this season. And I want to know, how is it being able to show, like, no matter what age, like, women can live and love and be in power, like, at their fullness? How is it being able to portray those type of women, especially in the period, you know, that these women exist in?
I would say, oh, sorry, Golda.
No, go ahead, sweetheart.
Just quickly, that I think when you can show the power they have when you show the vulnerability, and that I think there's been quite a lot of enablement to show vulnerability with the characters this season with these women, and I think therefore you can see the power that they have. When you've seen the darker side, you see where they've kind of blossomed, I guess.
Yeah, and I think where does that power come from? Where does the confidence come from? It comes from vulnerability. Ruth is exactly right. You know, to be able to be vulnerable is powerful. To be able to be vulnerable with each other is powerful. And you know, what was I going to say? There's the scene behind you that your back, the backdrop of what you've got there was a really beautiful scene of, you know, showing that. That scene is about sisterhood. That scene is about women coming together and supporting each other. The energy is there, you know, the energy is focused on, the kind of feminine and the womanhood, sisterhood. Anything away.
It's that thing where, you know, women have to survive. We carry a lot, we juggle a lot all the time. you can't always show your vulnerability because you don't have the space and the privilege to do that. But these three women have a lot of being public, you know, but so those moments where you can be private and you can go, I don't know, or I feel terrible, or I'm in grief, or I'm whatever it is, you know, you don't do that with everybody. You do it with the people you feel safe around. And so like the actors, we feel safe with each other to try things out, and the characters feel safe with each other to be the other side that isn't in control and in command and all knowing.
Well, look, I love talking to y'all. I needed more time to speak to you because you got so many gems, okay? How are both of you doing today?
Good. Look at your backdrop. You're instantly our favorite. You can stay forever. Wow.
Look, I have to stay in the theme, so I have to show some love and respect to all of my favorite characters, okay?
Okay, thanks.
But look, I want to talk about both of your characters because, you know, I think the Featheringtons, they get a bad rap, okay? And they're just out here trying to survive. And I'm just saying, I want you to talk a little bit about the importance of actually being able to show even more vulnerability, you know, because I feel like now fans are going to be able to see that, like, hey, we are just trying to make it in a society that tries to stop us at every turn.
Perfectly yourself. I think last season, I don't think we were given so much the opportunity to show that, but this season, you know, beginning with no money, no husband, no father figure, we're on a journey and it's a bumpy ride at times, and we're survivors and ultimately united as a family, you know. And I think you get, like you said, you get to see the vulnerability of the Featheringtons this season.
But I mean, also too, is this battle of, you know, do I do what society tells me to do instead of doing what my heart tells me what is right? And I wanted to know for the both of you, what was that moment when you realized, like, I'm going to start living for myself and just not for the expectations of others?
Do you mean that about Bessie, or do you mean that about Prudence?
Either or. It is your world. I'm living in it.
Well, I think I mean, it's safer probably just to talk about Prudence.
So.
I'm not going to be like, well. So
Definitely.
it first began for me when I think for Prudence, she just wants to also do what she admires her mother so much, I think, and she wants to emulate her mother, and she respects her mother so much. And so I think she wants to do what her mother wants her to do, and she just tries to do that as well as she sort of can. And I think the societies then was so strict that you were really limited on what you could do that within that. You know, you couldn't just break it, or you'd just be the scandal of the town. You'd be discarded and living in the streets in poverty. So we need to maintain our status, maintain our composure. I think that's what's so fun to play, is showing that on the outside, but what is actually going on inside. And I think, like you said, we get to see slightly more of the inside of them this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'll echo what Bessie said. I think it's an interesting season for us, and I think we're confronted with situations and opportunities that we have to ask. I certainly have to ask hard questions to myself as to where my loyalties lie and how I want to and where I want to live my life.
But I mean, also too, one of the things that I admire about this season, and I feel like, I mean, you could say it for the first season, but I feel like in season 2, you really get to see how strong these women are. And you get to see how it's the women who really push forward the narrative in the season. And I wanted to know, given the period that we're in, but especially seeing how much roles for women have grown within the industry, how has it been actually being able to portray women who like get stuff done?
Well, I mean, I like to imagine that I am a woman like that, and I'm certainly interested in portraying women like that. I don't think I'd be comfortable portraying women in a derogatory way, and I'm surrounded in the world of Bridgerton by these sort of lionesses, and it's inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's, again, what Prudence looks up to. She doesn't quite know how to do it yet because she's still pretty young and naive.
She's just a cub.
She's just a cub in the pride. she just got to grow up. And I think that's what is exciting. She's trying to walk in the shoes that are a bit big, but she can't. It doesn't quite fit yet. And it's watching that. And hopefully she will turn into a strong woman. But we'll see where we go. Maybe on season 12 we'll get there.
It's done. It's gonna happen. It's already done. But I just want to thank both of you so much for taking time to speak with me. I really hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Hi.
Look, first, I just want to thank you for giving me my entire life watching all your shows growing up. Never thought I would have the chance or opportunity to speak with you. So I just had to tell you thank you for giving me my life. So yes.
Oh, thank you. I love that. Thank you for saying that.
Well, one of the first questions I have for you is one of the things that I really love in the season of Bridgerton is really that whole exploration of having that moment of your life where you decide to live for yourself and not for the expectations of others. And I wanted to know for you, either personally or professionally, what was that moment for you when you realized that, like, hey, I'm going to do what makes me happy, no matter what the world has to say about it?
Oh, wow. I think that might have been for me. I was probably much younger and deciding that I was going to go ahead and be a writer. You know, I was going to make that my job as a real career and try to make a go of that versus sort of being the responsible, you know, because to me, being a writer didn't seem like a real job, you know, being the responsible job having person that, you know, I thought my parents wanted me to be. So it was probably that moment.
Is there anything that you wish, like thinking back on your career, that you didn't know when you first started out, like something that you felt would have maybe expedited the trajectory that you're on now?
I don't want to say anything bad about, you know, film school, because I think film school is wonderful and it was an amazing experience. But I do feel like if I had known then what I know now, I would have understood that, you know, especially, maybe the difference is technology, especially now with technology. You can make a movie with your phone. You know, you can write a script if you have a computer to write one on, or even a piece of paper and a pen to write one on. You don't necessarily need film school to teach you how to be a filmmaker. You know, the same way you need the credentials of like a PhD in order to be a professor. Film school can be the world. You can study films by watching them. You can study television by watching it. I wish I had known that, and I probably would have saved myself a great deal of money and a lot of debt.
Okay. I'm gonna get my mom on the line, because we had a whole argument about going to school. And she was like, wait, you regret spending money on? Yes, life can be a good teacher too. You can still be just as successful. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that.
Tell your mom I said that.
Okay, I'm gonna play this back for her. I'm gonna be like, look, Shonda told me to tell you. But I mean, with the success of, you know, Bridgerton, you know, what were some of the fears, you know, that all of you had as a creative team on heading into the second season? I feel like was there more pressure to succeed, to live up to the first season?
You know what's interesting is that we as a group, we've all worked together for so long and we've been together for so long that we weren't really looking at it like pressure. You know, we've had some shows and we've had some, you know, big moments. And for us, it was more about, you know, putting our heads down and getting the work done. You know, as far as we were concerned, we'd made, you know, people kept saying like, oh my God, you did something so big. And we kept saying, we made 8 episodes of something. That was it. We just made 8 episodes. We need to make 8 more. And we looked at it that way, as opposed to thinking of it as, you know, we didn't even really take time to celebrate like, oh, look what we did. We really looked at it like we have more work to do. So we didn't think of it in terms of the pressure. We just thought of it in terms of like, what's the story we're telling next? How are we going to get that work done?
Okay, y'all better be humble. Okay, let me work on my humbleness. But y'all still killed it with the first season though, so I can still say that to you. But I mean, what is something that you were most excited to explore in this season? You know, a lot of people don't know about the books. You know, a lot of people just, you know, tuned in to the series. What is something that you were really excited this season for the entire team to share with everyone?
I was excited that now that we'd revealed the identity of Lady Whistledown, that we were now going to get to see what it was to be Lady Whistledown. I thought that was interesting, and I really wanted to share that with an audience. I also loved the idea of watching the series 2 book of Kate and Anthony, like watching them spar with one another. I thought that was going to be a really interesting world. And I wanted to see what that felt like in, live and on its feet. That was going to be exciting too.
No, that was fun. Y'all had me stressed out this season. I was very stressed. Like I was watching the thriller, like y'all don't see them looking at each other like this. I'm the only one that sees this. So no, I really enjoyed that. I just want to tell you, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me. It really, really means a lot to me. And I'm just sending so much love and light your way. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
I hope you do too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Hi, Chris. How you doing?
I am good. How are you?
I'm not gonna lie, you had me stressed out. Okay. I was really stressed this season. I felt like I was like in a thriller instead of, romance. Like this is getting real serious. Y'all don't see them staring at each other. So you gave me a couple of heart attacks, Chris, but I'm still here. So I still enjoyed it.
Good. I'm glad you made it through.
But one of the things that I really appreciate about this season is really that moment, where our characters realize that they're no longer going to live their lives for someone else, that they're going to make the decision to do what makes them happy. And I wanted to know for you, either personally or within your career, what was that moment for you when you decided, like, I'm going to do what makes me happy? I'm going to live for myself.
I think, a lot of what this season deals with in a really interesting way is this theme of head versus heart, or duty versus love. And, it's something that Anthony and Kate especially are grappling with. And, they're mirrors for each other in a lot of ways, because they're both kind of going through that same issue, as far as they both feel this tremendous responsibility to their family and this tremendous sense of family duty to their family. They've always put their family first above all else, even before themselves, much to their own detriment. So it was fascinating to follow them along this journey and come out the other side of it. For me personally, when I first started developing the show, I had just become a father. And so my priorities changed overnight, and my own sense of familial responsibility and my own duty to my family. And now I have 3 very small children, all relying on me. It changes things, and it really allows you, it really makes you question the important things in life, and also, what everything is for. So absolutely.
Oh, congratulations. All the babies.
Thank you.
Love it. But I mean, how, going in from season 1 to season 2, for those who have read the books, we know that we have to lose a Bridgerton every season. We're going to lose someone that we love and care about. How have you really dealt with how to usher the audience into this theme of having to lose these characters that we fall so much in love with when they're focused on each season?
It's kind of what makes Bridgerton Bridgerton, and it's certainly what makes this show unique and singular. And the fact that I get to focus on new characters every season and explore entirely new worlds and love stories really is what I found so refreshing about a project like this. And it's really why I signed up for it. And I find it amazingly, fulfilling and satisfying creatively to be able to tell these close-ended love stories, and without having to think of all these crazy reasons and obstacles, to keep our main love story, to keep our main couple apart. We can actually get them to a satisfying conclusion and give them their happily ever after, and then move on to the next couple.
That's so crazy. I've never thought of it like that. Like, I didn't think, like, yeah, like you don't have to go through okay, they're going to break up this season and then they're going to get back together. Oh, that's such a fun way to look at it. See, I'm learning something new.
That's great.
But what is one moment, that happened, or it could be a plethora of moments that you were most excited to be able to portray on screen this season?
There are so many moments this season. I mean, we're following Kate and Anthony in this incredibly fraught and charged enemies to lovers story. And that's one of my favorite tropes of the romance genre, because there's so much conflict to mine there. And Jonathan Bailey and Simone Ashley are incredible, and their chemistry is just out of this world. It's palpable, it's electric, and it's fascinating and super fun to watch. They're both so good at that sort of thing. And we're following all of this sexual tension in the season, and it's building from scene to scene, really, episode to episode. And you just know that the payoff when we get there is going to be well worth it.
It was definitely worth it, because y'all took me on a journey.
Good.
But look, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I'm so happy for all of the success that you've had with season 1 going into season 2. I still do want you to do some thrillers, okay? Because I feel like there's something there. There's something there.
Thank you so much.
I'm sending love and light your way, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
You too. Thank you.